Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Racha Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is, Who Are the E's? The Cursed People, the Origins. And Lord's will, if the Spirit allows, I would like to make this an ongoing series, if the Lord allows. And this is especially, for the, pretty much for the newer brothers just coming in, looking, for lessons like this, which we go into these type of lessons all the time. The breakdowns that we go into are pretty basic. Sometimes we hit a couple of deep points, but for the most part, the lessons that we do are pretty much pretty basic, because the scriptures say, except you use words easy to be understood, what shall be known what is spoken, so we're supposed to use plain speech, break things down for the benefit of the sheep that are listening. So I'm going to just say a few words on this, maybe hit a few points, and then like I said, Lord's will, this could be an ongoing series if the Spirit of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai allows. Now you're looking at E here, and all I did was type in Esau and all this stuff popped up. And then I got this picture here, which are twins, and you can see what they look like, and everybody thinks that this is impossible, that when you go back to the beginning, that the so-called white man came out of a so-called black man and a so-called black woman. But this happens all the time. This is something that's, pretty much happening around the world to different people, to Jake, to other people, that are people of color, so to speak. You get one baby that come out looking regular and the other baby that will come out looking like a so-called white person. All right. So this is the actual story of the origins of the so-called white race. Their father's name was Esau. So when we go to Genesis 25:19, this is Isaac's sons. It says, and these are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begat Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Padanaram, the sister to Laban the Syrian, right? Because this goes back to Abraham's family line on his brother's side. All right, and this is where Jacob got his woman or his wife from. All right. It says, and Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife because she was barren, and the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived. All right. So she got pregnant, went to a seer and asked, what was going on. Prayed to the Lord. The Lord had mercy on Isaac and Rebekah, and she got pregnant. And the children struggled together within her. So as soon as she got pregnant, there were twins in her womb. But what it was with these two twins were two opposing spirits. So you could understand, two spirits that were set up to go one against the other. And this goes into the positive as well as the negative, because you have two sides. You have the righteous side, you have the wicked side. You have the tree of good, and you have the tree of good and of the knowledge of good and evil. So you have a duality in everything. When you read the Apocrypha breaks it down, and shows you that there are two against two. Everything is made to have a rival, so to speak. And the children struggled together within her, and she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord. And that's when she went to ask the seer, to find out what was going on, which she went, actually it was her husband, Isaac, that did it. And pretty much this was a great struggle. It was, like Elder Pastor puts it, like a great MMA match. They were scrapping because it must have been bad because she must not been able to get any sleep. Because for her, because children moving in a woman's womb, that's natural. But there was something going on. There was this serious fight going on to where she was like trying to inquire what the hell was going on, and it's because they had two opposing forces, one righteous and one wicked, fighting one against another. And this is the origins of the promised seed, which is Jacob, and this is the also the origins of the wicked, which are the Edomites or Esau. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb. So notice he said 2 nations. He didn't say 2 sons. He said 2 nations are in thy womb. Because from these 2 sons, there was going to come 2 separate nations. So like it for a minute. And 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. So we were never meant to get together with E. We were never meant to get together. These dreams that Martin Luther King had, and this whole obsession with the civil rights movement of, ending segregation and bringing integration. The Lord never set it up that way. Even when you go back to Deuteronomy 32, the Lord separated all these different nations, and he separated them for a reason, because he didn't want all nations to come together as one, because the Lord has a chosen people that he's dealing with. And he doesn't want them intermingling with everybody else and learning from their influences. And this is how we as a nation fell. It says, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people. And when you look at Jacob, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, were spiritually, physically, and mentally stronger than these devils, and that is a proven fact. The most spiritual people on the planet Earth are the Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. That's why they're constantly in the church. They're always devoting things to God, even though they're not really following the scriptures, but they have that zeal to follow the Lord. Look at on the basketball court. Golf, and then just different other things that Judah excels in. That's proven that one people shall be stronger than the other. And it says, and the elder shall serve the younger. Meaning the one that comes out first is going to be a servant to the one that comes out second. It says, and when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. But these weren't identical twins. These were fraternal twins, as you see here. You have identical twins and you have something called fraternal twins. These would be like fraternal twins. 2 twins that came out of the same womb, but they look different. You had one baby that came out regular, the other baby came out looking different. And this is why it says, and the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. Now when you break the word Esau down, you have to go to the Ben Yehudi English Hebrew dictionary to be able to get the definition of the word, of how Esau's name breaks down, because his name is Aishah or Aishashwa. The wa at the end is he or his, and the Aishash part means wasted. So when Isaac saw his son, he called him Esau. Aishah, wasted away is he, because he came out red all over like a hairy garment. Now, when you look up this word red, it's the same exact word in the Hebrew, Adamawanya, that is used for King David. And this is why they say, well, no, it can't be, because, Esau wasn't so-called white because King David would have been so-called white. But no, see, the difference is when you look at this passage here, it says the first came out red all over like a hairy garment. Now, hairy garments, if you look at a red heifer, not the garment, if you look at a red heifer or brown bear but let's just use a heifer, red heifer. They look brownish with like a reddish overtone. They're brown with a reddish overtone. But when you look at a garment, because you had fullers back then that would wash and clean, you had people that would dye garments, and one of the colors they would use was red. And when you look at a dyed garment that was dyed red, it's bright, like a bright red, like Esau's color. And when you look at the same passage that was used for King David, you have the word ruddy. Now, the word ruddy does not mean red, glowing red cheeks. It means brown, like a brownish color. And even when you type it in, right, you type in the word, let's just put ruddy animals, right? What are you going to get? You're going to get stuff like this, like a brownish animal with red overtones. All right, if you put in a red heifer right here, look at the red heifer. That don't look like an Edomite. That looks like a brown skin Jake. If you put in ruddy people, it'll come up. Ruddy complexion, it'll come up. See? Same as that. Same as this. And that's the reason why I use for King David the word ruddy, even though they use the same Hebrew word in the in the Hebrew, to describe or use the same word red. But for King David, it didn't say red. For Esau, it did, because Esau was red like a hairy garment. King David was ruddy. He was ruddy. Let's go to the picture. He was ruddy like this, So that's the difference. So that's why they try to say that, that Esau was not a so-called white man because of that, So this is all BS for what these devils are saying. So it says, and the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. So that's the discrepancy there with them, because they say that this, because the same Hebrew word is there, that both of them look the same. No, they did not. That's why I use red to describe Esau, for the same word. Well, they say Admoni, but the word is Adamawanya. You have the word red here, right there, Adamawanya. They say Admoni. And that's the same word used for King David. But for Esau, it says he came out red all over like a hairy garment. These are dyed garments. You could go to, what is that, Exodus 25. And 5. And ram's skins dyed red, see? And badger skins and shittim wood. So you had garments that were dyed red, a red color dye, So you had red garments. Let's see if we put in red garments, what comes up. This is going to come up. Let's see, red. Let's try red hairy garment. Let's see what that says. Yeah, you're still going to get this, but then you have, let's say, red dyed garments. You see? There you go. Garments dyed red. So that's what Esau looked like. That's why he used the word red in the English for Esau, and they used the word ruddy for King David. All right. So pretty much I'm going to leave it there. Lord's will, I could come back and do, like I said, I wanted to do a series, Lord's will, to the, as the Spirit allows. So I just wanted to get that point out. These are the origins of Esau, the father of all so-called white people, which are the children of the wicked. But one thing to note is that, not every so-called white-looking person is an Edomite, because you have Israelites among them, you have other nations among them, so that's why the Lord is doing the sifting, to separate the Israelites from among all these different nations, because you have a lot of Israelites that look like these nations. Hence Revelation 7, where the angel asked the Apostle John, who are these that have come out of great tribulation? And he said, thou knowest, because he didn't know, because they didn't look like your typical Israelites. That's why the Lord said, I will work a work in your days that you will not believe, though a man tell you. So with that, I pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. To the next time I say, Shalom.